Hi. We're going to get started with the research part of our general meeting. Welcome to our IT Sec. So if you're interested in presenting, we are very much so almost out of presentation slots. So yeah, that's the sign up. Want free stuff? That's how you're going to get it. Announcements, kind of just same old, sign in the meeting. If you haven't, sign in anyway. Sign in. It's that easy. Join the Discord. I think everyone's in the Discord. Yeah, okay. Check the calendar. This is how you see what events are coming up whenever we plan things. That's how you're going to find out. And also through our mailing list that Sarah delicately crafts on Thursday. That's real. And then we have this week's cybersecurity news. There's a new vulnerability called Acropolis. There was a ChatGPT bug, and there was a little GitHub oopsies this week. So Acropolis, there was a major privacy flaw that's been found in the Windows snipping tool and other similar apps. This has been named Acropolis because it allows people to recover partially edited data, or data partially edited out of images. So when you use like cropping or snipping and things like that, that image will still contain that data in some cases. So security researchers first found this through a bug in the Google Pixel markup tool, and then other security researchers later confirmed that this also exists within the Windows 11 snipping tool. So rather than truncating the unused data, whenever you snip something, it's leaving it behind. And you can see this when the crop files are the same size as the original. It still contains all of the data because there is an IEND, which I thought was funny, IEND data section that isn't always overwritten. And while you can't access this through the snipping tool, like I know on phones, you can just, let me just revert it. There are Python scripts where you can just piece together all of the data and partially recover images. So if you're like cropping out your credit card info, in some cases it may be recoverable. As of writing this, there was no available fixes because this is pretty recent, but Microsoft is looking into fixing the issues. They might have had a release. I couldn't find it in the article, even though they said they did. Yeah. All right, next, there was a ChatGPT bug. So there was an alert that was put on the user interface claiming conversation history was restored. Anyone using it may have noticed that I can't see my conversations. Well, as it turns out that there was a significant bug in an open source library that allowed users to see other users' conversation history. So imagine if that was like Google search history or something and you could just see other people's searches. So people were getting confused. There was some guy who saw a bunch of Chinese searches and he was like, what? I didn't make that. With no context of the conversation either. So this began happening as early as Monday. They have a fix already out. And the CEO was like, we feel awful about this. And this wasn't even something on their end. This was through the use of a open source library. So this just hit them pretty fast. And then lastly, we have a GitHub oopsies. So GitHub had to replace its RSA key out of an abundance of caution because the key which they use to secure their operations just got exposed in a public repository. So the chief security officer, Mike Hanley, said the key doesn't actually access any infrastructure or customer data. And he's saying the change only impacts Git operations over SSH using RSA. He said no evidence was confirmed that any adversaries or threat actors were able to exploit this, and then continued in his statement further emphasizing that no compromise was actually done in this. Yeah, and just blamed it on an inadvertent publishing of private information. And this is already following 2 months. 2 months ago, they had threat actors exfiltrate data with their code signing certificates, so it's a little bit of trouble. And without further ado, we have this week's presentations. Alex Beaver is presenting on his first spyware. Daniel will be doing an intro to ELF, and my friend Adam Yaris, I live with him, will be doing how to hack an RIT vendor and why you shouldn't. Yeah,